Hello and welcome everyone to the Third Man's Cricket Show. I am Parth Rathore, your host for today, and we have finally completed week 2 of the Indian Premier League. We saw many wickets, we saw many runs being scored, we saw high scoring matches, we saw low scoring matches. It was a powerhouse of a week as far as the Indian Premier League is concerned. Let's start our show today by welcoming our analysts on the panel today. We have Amog with us supporting Delhi Capitals. Hi Amog, how are you?
Hello, Parth. I'm fine. How are you?
How do you feel? I'm fine too. How do you feel about the week? How has Delhi Capitals played in this week?
Great. It feels great because we have won both the matches basically, and the way we played against Mumbai Indians on the Chepauk wicket was really very good and very pleasing to watch, especially the way we approached the innings in the second inning when we were chasing 145. So it has been a good week because we've chased down both the totals. One total was 190, above 190. One total was just below 150 on a tricky wicket. So I think we are really high on confidence. It's been a great week. Looking forward to the next week.
Yes, surely. Now from Delhi Capitals, let's move to their northern rivals. We have the Punjab Kings with us, Aditya Gupta, analyst from Punjab Kings. Hi Aditya, how are you? And how do you feel about the week, especially about yesterday?
Hi Parth, I'm fine. Like we won one of out of two matches we won one against that also against the five-time champions Mumbai Indians. Quite an interesting game it was yesterday, and I'm very confident that we'll keep this momentum.
Yes, definitely. Punjab really needed that win against Mumbai Indians. And speaking of Mumbai Indians, we have Abhinav Mishra with us, our analyst from the Mumbai Indians. Hi, Abhinav. Two losses in both the games played in this week. Not something that we expect from a team like Mumbai Indians, five-time world champions. So, how do you feel about this week?
Yeah, I mean, it was a topsy turvy kind of a week for MI fans. I mean, yeah, we stand yeah, at the fourth place in the table, but that isn't much pleasing because of the way we have lost the games in Chennai recently. So, hoping that the next week and the next venue brings some joy to the MI fans, and we, claim that one of the top two spots which usually belongs to us.
Yes, definitely. Your run for the hat trick IPL victory is still on, and Mumbai Indians is never out of the league until the last game. So definitely hoping that Mumbai bounces back. But from Mumbai Indians, let's move to their arch rivals, Chennai Super Kings. We are witnessing the vintage CSK back in action after such a bad 2020 IPL. So we have Sanmay Ravi with us over here, our analyst from Chennai Super Kings. Hi, Sanmay. How did you feel about Chennai's performance this week?
Yeah, I am feeling good that CS is performing well. They won all the games this week. They in this week, and they are maintaining themselves at the top two positions. And it's good to see a vintage CSK back after what happened in the 2020 season.
Yeah, definitely. It's good to see CSK performing so good, and they are not just they are having dominating performance. Not just close games, last over games. They are having, of course, the one against KKR was a very close one though, but yet they are having dominating wins. But having speaking of KKR, we have Rishi with us, our analyst from the Kolkata Knight Riders. How do you feel, Rishi, about KKR's performance in week 2?
Uh, Having lost both of our games, I'm a bit disappointed, but then not as much because the second game which we saw recently was quite a thrilling one. We came very close and then we lost the game, but good positives to take away from that game. Uh, Scoring second innings and scoring 200 in the second innings is quite a respectable thing, um, and hoping for the having a good week ahead.
Yes, definitely. Now, from the eastern part of India, let's move to a bit in the western region of India. We have Rajasthan Royals. Sachit, how do you feel about Rajasthan's performance?
Disappointed, to be honest. I mean, you can't see somebody like the inaugural champions fail to win matches, that to two in a row. So it's disappointing to watch, but I hope they bounce back tonight itself. They have a match against KKR, so I hope they do bounce back tonight itself. Hoping for the best.
Hoping for the best. I like that optimism. But let's move right now to SRH, who would probably be more optimistic than anyone else. They've finally gotten that much needed win after 3 back-to-back losses. So SRH have finally kicked off, and we have Jayendra with us, our analyst from SRH. So Jayendra, how do you feel?
It's a bit one thrilling week. Was first match was against Mumbai Indians, which we lost by middle order bowlers. And second match we won. It's a very much needed win for us. Yeah, so looking forward to keep this momentum and keep winning. I'm sure if they're winning like this, we will definitely go to playoffs.
Definitely, and you spoke about keep winning, but right now there's only one team which is winning and winning and winning. We have the Royal Challengers Bangalore's analyst Mithilesh with us. Hi Mithilesh, another formidable week for RCB, and how do you feel about it?
Definitely. I think that was a sheer dominance for last 4 games, and it was a collective effort from all the members of the team. And I hope they continue this momentum, because we know what RCB can do. They are winning, then they start losing the game. But finger crossed this time, and I hope they continue. They will continue this winning momentum, and we can be the first team to qualify for the playoffs. And God knows that we can also win a maiden title.
The rate at which RCB is playing, I wouldn't be surprised if yes, they are the first team to qualify for the playoffs. But let's start with our show. Let's start analyzing what has happened all through the week. So at the bottom of the table stands Rajasthan Royals. The inaugural champions are sitting at the bottom of the table. Sanju Samson has just newly been handed the captaincy. It's just been four games for him as a captain. But do you think that his inconsistency as a batsman is proving to be an issue for Rajasthan Royals? In the first match, we saw how beautifully Sanju Samson scored the first ton of IPL 2021. But after that, if I'm not wrong, he hasn't been able to cross even a double-digit mark. So how is that inconsistency affecting Rajasthan Royals right now?
I think it's affecting them a lot, to be honest, because their top order is collapsing completely. The first 4 batsmen, for that matter, haven't been able to score 30 runs or 40 runs together. So that is obviously very concerning for Rajasthan. And Sanju Samson would definitely be one of our main batsmen at the moment, because we are missing somebody like Ben Stokes. And for him to play so irresponsibly, I think it puts us on the back foot. So I think he's got to take responsibility at the moment. He's the captain of the team. He's not doing that. Even in the first game, he gave away 2 catches. They don't get dropped every match. So he got dropped in the first match, and he went on to score 100. But if he keeps giving those catches, they won't get dropped, and they didn't. And he got out in the next 3. So I think he's got to be a little more careful, a little more responsible. He's got to step up and start scoring more runs. And once he does, I think he'll give confidence to the entire team, because Rajasthan is a very good batting side. They have somebody like Shivam Dube, they have somebody like Tewatia, they have Riyan Parag as well as Chris Morris, all 4 who can really take them, to a good total and win matches for them. They're all match winners. So to have somebody like that and batting the way that they are right now, I think is very disappointing for every RR fan. So I hope that he takes responsibility, and once he does start scoring some runs, everybody will follow, and RR will become a much better batting unit than they are.
Yes, definitely. I completely agree with you. He's the captain of the team, and yes, he has to step up. He has to take the responsibility, and he has to anchor the innings while the Rajasthan Royals are batting. But speaking of captaincy itself, do you think that it's the captaincy pressure on Sanju Samson that we are seeing low scores?
I don't think so, because he showed a lot of confidence in the first match. Although those 2 catches were dropped, he played very confidently. He expressed himself very brilliantly. So I think for him, I don't think it's the captaincy pressure that is leading to low scores. He's always had this problem. Ever since he began, he plays 3-4 matches really well, and the rest he doesn't capitalize on his opportunities. So I guess that's a problem that he has to address right now. And because he's the captain of the team, I think he has to address that. There is no option for him to just let it be right now, because he is one of the most important batsmen in Rajasthan. So he's got to address that problem and come up with a solution as soon as possible. It would be beneficial for him as well as the team. So I think it's that
Really?
problem that's been for so long, that's been there with him for so long that he has to overcome. And once he does that, I think it will be amazing for everyone.
Yes, definitely. When he is in form, it's just when it is his day, he's unstoppable. And we've seen that in the past as well. But you were speaking about missing out on Ben Stokes. Just recently we received the news that even Jofra Archer is being ruled out of the Indian Premier League. How much of a setback is it for your team? For Stokes getting ruled out now, Archer getting ruled out without even playing a game, without even arriving for the IPL. How does it mentally affect the team? As they both were the X factor players for Rajasthan Royals, and if I'm not wrong, they are in some way or the other pillars of your team.
Absolutely.
How much
They are
does it?
definitely the most valuable players of the team. And missing them is a huge loss, especially somebody like Ben Stokes who can bat as well as bowl, and he can bat at the top order as well. And Jofra Archer who can provide us a batting option even down the order. So I think they were the players that RR was definitely banking on. And missing them is definitely a huge loss. And also we miss Liam Livingstone now because he's also opted out of the IPL now. So even he was a good backup for David Miller, and now he's gone. So I guess RR is definitely the unluckiest team in IPL right now. But hopefully they do bounce back. I mean, they'll have to look for options outside their team right now because they need to be aware of the fact that their team is not enough at the moment. All the foreign players who are available to play for them are already in the playing 11. And Andrew, I don't think they require him yet because Mustafizur is doing a pretty good job. So I guess they have to look for foreign players at least outside the team, maybe dig into the unsold list and pick up somebody like Manas Labuschagne or Sean Marsh or Alex Hales. There are so many big names over there that have missed out in this year's IPL. So if they do pick somebody up like that from the auction list, from the unsold list, then that would be very helpful for them because they would, somebody like Manas Labuschagne or Sean Marsh would give them a brilliant batting option. So I guess they won't have to depend too much on somebody like Jos Buttler, especially, especially him who hasn't been in form. He's been in India for almost 4 months now.
Yeah, and we haven't seen that kind of performances from Butler, what we expect. And if I'm not wrong, Rajasthan were playing the first few games in Wankhede, and Butler has a staggering record at Wankhede. We have always seen Butler playing good on the Wankhede pitch, but even there he didn't perform to his expectations, what we expected from a player like Jos Buttler. But again, just as we move on, a quick question to you about the net run rate for Rajasthan Royals. It is below -1. Does that affect the team in the later stages? Does the net run rate, should Rajasthan Royals think of net run rate from right now itself? Should they try on improving the net run rate from now itself?
Definitely. I think this is the time that you have to focus on the net run rate because now most of the teams are unbalanced. They don't know the perfect combination for their team yet. So this is where most teams should capitalize and increase their net run rate as quickly as possible. And Rajasthan have failed to capitalize on that opportunity. So it gets a little more difficult for them moving. In the further stages of the competition, when every team is balanced, every team has the perfect combination, and they're at their strongest position. So beating them with, dominating them rather, would be very difficult for any team for that matter. So I think Rajasthan missed out on an opportunity, but hopefully they do come back from here and they do dominate because the net run rate plays a huge role. Even if they get something about 14 points, then they might get eliminated because of the net run rate. So they have to focus on it right now.
We saw the similar thing last year with the Kolkata Knight Riders. They were eliminated because of the net run rate. And speaking of Kolkata Knight Riders, let's move one spot ahead from 8th to 7th. And it is the Kolkata Knight Riders placed at 7th in the points table, which for me is a big shocker that a team like KKR is so down in the table. Seeing the kind of performances they usually give us in the IPL. They have given us 2 championships in 2012 and 2014, and we don't expect a team like KKR sitting in the lower half of the points table. But Rishi, I would not like to mention more negatives for your side. Let's talk about the positives. Is Russell Muscle back? Is the Andre Russell, which we were hoping to see since last year's IPL, is that vintage Russell back in action?
Yes, absolutely. From the first 2 games, we had seen him with the ball, but then now after the next 2 games, we have seen him with the bat as well. So from now onwards, we just might get to see him with both bat and ball together in one match, and hopefully he gets those winning, runs and winning wickets.
Yes, I would love to see him, taking scoring runs and taking those wickets in the same match itself, not in different games. But at least it's good that after such a poor season last year, now Russell is slowly gaining his form back. But what a game it was against CSK. I mean, we all hoped that KKR somehow pull this off. 31 for 5, and from there on, trying to chase such a massive total. And what a great innings. Those three innings, Cummins, Dinesh Karthik, and Andre Russell. A word on that, Rishi. How crucial was that innings, not just for the team, but even for their individual self, because Dinesh Karthik also is not performing that much up to the mark. And Pat Cummins had a very bad game with the ball. He went for more than 50 runs with the ball in that game. So how important was it for the team and also for their individual self?
Yes. So when the match started, the team was, facing those problems with the ball. They weren't able to ball well. They conceded 220 runs, if I'm not wrong, in 20 overs, and then to come back strong from there and to score more than 200 runs while chasing isn't that easy. And KKR did that job. But then taking the positives out of that game is that they scored those 200 runs and went so close to the game. But sometimes it is unfortunate to miss out on such close games. It's okay. They made some mistakes and they lost it only because of their mistakes. If their top order hadn't messed, so they would have lost that. They would have won that game. But then they made those mistakes at the top and the middle order. They unfortunately lost the game there.
Definitely all teams make mistakes at some point or the other, and a true champion team is the one who learns from that mistakes and improves them, and then that is how you go and win championships. You keep on learning and progressing through the group stage which we have, the round robin stage which we have. And I hope that KKR do the same. But you were speaking of 200 runs. KKR, the bowlers, both the games which you have played, in both the matches, the bowlers did concede over 200 runs in both the matches. Yes, of course, I wouldn't deny that. Yes, it was a batting pitch, and the pitch was a high scoring pitch, so the runs were bound to come. But do these big scores, do they demoralize your bowlers?
um, till a limit they do, because every bowler wants to uh, concede as less as they can. They don't want to concede 40 runs or 50 runs like how Pat Cummins did. He conceded 50 runs in that last game, but then he didn't want to concede. But it happens sometimes. It won't happen like every game Pat Cummins will concede 50 runs. He's also playing after a long time in India, so it'll take some time for him to capitalize as well. And there were some matches which they played at Chennai and then they moved on to Mumbai to play their rest games. So even that matters a lot. Like when you move from a ground where you are for 3 or more games, and then you come suddenly to a ground where you haven't played a match since a long time, so that matters as well. So I don't think that is a big problem. Yes, it is a problem to worry about, but then not a big problem like how their middle order or how their low top order is. It is a problem for KKR, I feel.
Yes, and yes, Pat Cummins. You're speaking of Pat Cummins. We all know how great a bowler he is. We all know his heroics that he has done for Australia. It's not a joke to be in any format. It's not a joke to be a world number one in any of the format, be it batting or bowling. And Pat Cummins has consistently maintained his number one spot for the past couple of years. But not to mock, but Pat Cummins definitely did get 250s in a single game. But moving from
Yes.
250s to 2 points, the two crucial points which Sunrisers Hyderabad got after the 3 consecutive losses. Placed at number 6 is the Sunrisers Hyderabad. And first of all, Jayendra, how important was that formidable win, that dominant win, which you got against the Punjab Kings. The match did go to the second last over, but you won by 8-9 wickets, and that is considered as a big win, and it definitely did boost up your net run rate as well. So how important was that win to motivate the entire camp?
Yeah, it was a very, very crucial win. The way we started the IPL campaign, the first loss was very bad. Then second low scoring match we didn't chase. Third match with us we didn't chase. Then the fourth match where we bowled very brilliantly and restrict the opponent to the 120, which is a very, very low score to chase, and and our batsman did it comfortably. So that 9 wickets win was very, very crucial for us. That 2 points which Sunrisers Hyderabad need to kick off the campaign to moral their boost is very important for us. And yeah, we got that. I hope that now we will all see the Sunrisers Hyderabad we know since they came. Almost every year they reach the top 4. So yeah, I think now they should keep this momentum going and keep winning the matches.
Yes, definitely. I mean, yes, even though, yes, Mumbai Indians are 5 times world champions, IPL champions, but if you ask me, in my opinion, considering the past 5 seasons, SRH is definitely the most consistent. Almost every year they have qualified for the playoffs, and I wish to see them in the playoffs once again and maintain that consistency. But speaking of consistency, one of your most consistent batsmen, Manish Pandey, we saw him benched in the previous match which you won against the Punjab Kings. But is Manish Pandey really a batsman you would want to bench? I mean, yes, his strike rate is a concern. His strike rate in a few games was below 100 also, and if not below 100, then less than 110. So yes, strike rate is definitely a concern. But is Manish Pandey a player that you would like to see on the bench for the Sunrisers Hyderabad?
If you ask me, then I will say no, because we all know how Manish Pandey, what a player Manish Pandey. He is a consistent player. He can bat for so long. He can give us that important runs we need. He can rotate the strike. In short, he has that experience which Sunrisers Hyderabad's middle order currently need now. So benching Manish Pandey is not a good option. We saw from the start of the IPL that David Warner changing their squad with a regular basis. He is doing four changes against MI. So and especially I think benching Manish Pandey is not a good option, because as I told, he's very good in rotating strike. He's so much consistent in compared to other players. Yeah, because SRH's middle order is little bit unexperienced, uncapped. But we need points and we need someone who bats so long. So I think Manish Pandey is not the player who should be sitting out.
And yes, now even Kane Williamson is fit and he's playing in the playing 11 as well. And having a partner like Kane Williamson batting alongside him, it definitely it will motivate him also. Because Kane Williamson has that character in him. He's such a great leader, and he's led New Zealand so beautifully. The one season in which he led Sunrisers Hyderabad, unfortunate loss in the finals that year. But Kane Williamson has that character in him, and I definitely hope that Kane Williamson pushes Manish Pandey a bit, and we can see Manish Pandey scoring at a steady rate. But now coming to your bowling, Natarajan is ruled out of the IPL, as we know. Who do you think is the perfect replacement in your playing 11 for Natarajan? Should it be Sandeep Sharma? Should it be Siddharth Kaul? Or should it be Khalil Ahmed?
I think if you've seen the last match, both Khalil Ahmed and Siddharth Kaul is included in the squad. Khalil Ahmed was bowling absolutely brilliant. He picked up 3 wickets, and Siddharth Kaul is economically high, but he is also very good. So if you ask me, in the place of Natarajan, I think Khalil Ahmed is a better option, because Natarajan has this variation slow balls, which Khalil Ahmed also have. But plus Khalil Ahmed has a more height than Natarajan, so his ball will show little bit so much bouncer higher. So I think Khalil Ahmed is a better option if Natarajan is not there.
Very well said, and congratulations on finally kicking off your campaign in the IPL. And IPL is a very tough competition, and we don't like seeing teams with no points, and we definitely hope that SRH now pushes themselves and spices the points table a bit. Now let's move a bit ahead in the points table. Let's move to place number 5, which is grabbed by the Punjab Kings after the dominating win last night over the five-time IPL champions, the Mumbai Indians. Aditya, talk to us about the beautiful partnership that we saw yesterday between KL Rahul and Chris Gayle.
Those 79 runs was very crucial partnership they played. They played a major role in yesterday's win. Uh, I feel yesterday Punjab lost the match against SRH very badly in that against in Chepauk. So I feel after that Punjab did a good analysis of the pitch, and we were bang on our points. And I feel now, like after this match, like now we'll have the new stadium, the Narendra Modi Stadium, where we are going to play our 2 matches. So I feel so, like if you see the stats of Narendra Modi Stadium, I feel the if you see 6 out of 6 matches, 3 matches have one batting first and 3 have one batting second. So I feel like it can be a high chasing uh, game or a low chasing game, because we have seen both high scores and low scores in that stadium. So I'm very confident with my team.
Yes, definitely. 2-3 days ago, Punjab were sitting plumb last in the points table after your loss against SRH. You were sitting at the bottom of the table. But what a turnaround now! It just took you one win to from 8th place to move straight to, of course, because of Rajasthan's loss, you did move up a place due to the net run rate, but it took you just one win to reach at place number 5, right below the Mumbai Indians, and just net run rate separates you from the five-time IPL champions. And it's really good to see a team like Punjab Kings playing good cricket and scoring these points. And especially if you see the Punjab Kings team, you have a lot of youngsters in your team, and even in spite of having big names like Chris Gayle, KL Rahul, still these youngsters are coming up on the platform and expressing themselves, they're taking up the challenge, and they're proving their worth to not just to your team but to the entire IPL. So talk to us about your youngsters. First we saw Shah Rukh Khan batting his heart out in that game against CSK. Then Arshdeep Singh, of course, he has been a consistent performer with the ball. And then again, we saw Ravi Bishnoi. Again, he did play last season, missed a few games in the beginning, comebacks and takes 2 for 21. So talk to us about the impact of youngsters in your team.
So this is the beauty of IPL. Like IPL is a platform where young players, young talented players, can perform, and they can try their best to get into the Indian team. Plus, this season it's going to be a very tough season because for the selectors, because after like 4-5 months we have the T20 World Cup. For that, there is a intense competition going on. And if you see Punjab, last season also they got in Arshdeep Singh, who played a vital role in the Punjab lineup. And last season even Ravi Bishnoi, the under 19 player who just made his name in the under 19 World Cup by taking most number of wickets and taking a hat trick also. Uh, Unfortunately, he didn't get the chance earlier matches. But after seeing yesterday's performance, I feel now Murugan Ashwin won't get the chance, and Ravi Bishnoi is proving his place now. And I feel that I'm very happy that Punjab backs young players. Like at least he's not warming his bench in other, like if you see other teams. Like RCB also just signed Mohammad Azharuddin, who is a very talented player, but he is warming the bench. And I'm very happy even RR got in Chetan Sakaria, who is also performing and proving his name in the IPL.
Yes, time and again, we've seen, these young players performing good in IPL, and then, today they are international stars. They are rocking the international world in T20s. But speaking of your team particularly right now, is this the team you really want to go in with for the rest of the tournament? The team which played against the Mumbai Indians, for you? Do you think that the team is balanced enough, or do you think that the team should make a couple of changes into the playing 11?
Like if you see now it's a Ahmedabad, so we just cannot predict. Like it can be a batting pitch or a bowling pitch, and many international players like Chris Gayle and Nicholas Puran are playing for the first time in the stadium. So we cannot predict anything about that. But if like superstitious wise, like if we want to maintain this momentum, we'll keep the this team only. But quite some changes which we can make, some small tweaks can be like if Nicholas Puran is still not showing his worth for the team, we can bring in Chris Jordan as an all-rounder, or for middle order we can get a David Malan.
Definitely. I also kind of slightly tend to incline on your side on that change which you are suggesting over here. But we hope that Nicholas Puran does perform well. He's still being backed by Punjab Kings even after such a shambolic performance. But now let's move into the playoff contention. From the bottom half of the table, let's move to the top half of the table. We enter the top four, and on the fourth place is the Mumbai Indians. Not the place where Abhinav would like his team to be right now after playing 5 games. But Abhinav, before the start of the tournament, Mumbai Indians had the best win percentage in Chepauk. They had a better win percentage than Chennai Super Kings themselves. Of course, Mumbai has played comparatively way lesser games than Chennai, but still the win percentage was high, more than Chennai Super Kings in Chepauk, and we have seen them winning only 2 matches out of 5. They have lost 3 games in Chennai. Talk to us about what went wrong in Chennai leg for Mumbai.
Well, if you see the team structure of MI that that has been over the past years, that middle order is something that MI focuses a lot on, and the middle order has delivered over the past few seasons. If you see Hardik, Krunal and Pollard, जब वानखेड़े में जो matches खेलते हैं उसमें MI is very confident that if we are chasing a score above 200, these 3 guys will get us par, over the finishing line. So I think a lot of it has to do with the conditions, because in the auction, teams are not picked. We didn't know that we'll be playing our games in Chennai and the next 4 which are in Delhi. And these surfaces are very, very different compared to the Wankhede pitch, which is a batting track. Like the other matches going on, Mumbai has shown that. And during a regular season, if you see that out of 14 games, we play only 2 games, one in Chennai and one in Delhi, and the rest of the 12 pitches, rest of the 12 games have similar surfaces, and where runs are scored heavily. So I think a lot boils down to the conditions they are playing in, and also seeing the results. Yes, they have been a bit disappointing, but I back my team to just come out of this difficult phase, because if there's any team in the IPL who can come out of such situations, it's MI. We have seen in the past as well. No one can forget that 2014 Ranjis against Rajasthan Royals, and even the 2013 comeback where we where I guess we needed 7 out of 7 in the last 7 games, and Rohit Sharma managed to do that. So I think Rohit Sharma thrives on thrives during during these phases. So I think the best is yet to come from MI, and hopefully the Delhi leg will show us that.
Yes, definitely. That match which you mentioned in the 2014 game, the last match of the leg of the league was Mumbai versus Rajasthan, and what a match! In my opinion, personally, my own opinion, for me, that has been the best game that the IPL has produced in its 13 seasons. That was just a treat for all of us, and it's more special because Mumbai won in Wankhede, and it was the last ball 6, and we all remember the visuals. The visuals.
I just want to mention this. Yeah, I want to mention this to everyone here, because I had I had the opportunity to get 2 tickets for that game, and I let it go. I mean, I thought that Mumbai is not going to qualify anyhow, so there's no point going and watching the game. So I sold the tickets to a couple of my friends, and they were like, "Thank you, bhai, de diye tune, din bana diya hamara."
I really feel for you on this. I really feel for
Yeah,
you
I
on
mean, I
this.
still regret until date that why did I do that?
And Mumbai Indians is known for comebacks, and as you rightly mentioned, the 2013 season, it will go down in the history of cricket as one of the best comebacks for winning a league. And we hope that Mumbai Indians do pull off a Mumbai Indians in this IPL as well. But you for winning a championship, you need all your elements ticked. You want all your elements to perform properly. So your powerhouse, Mumbai Indians is known for its middle order batting. The triple P, both the Pandyas and Kyron Pollard, is their magic fading away?
Well, we can't say it's fading away because Krunal Pandya recently did very well for the Indian side as well. And Kyron Pollard, we all know he hit six sixes in an over against, that Sri Lankan bowler. I guess it was, I
Akila
guess,
Dhananjay.
Akila Dhananjay,
Akila
right?
Dhananjay.
Yeah. And Hardik, we all know that he's a crucial factor for Virat in the limited overs format and for Rohit in the T20 format as well. So I won't say that the magic is fading away, but yeah, they have lost a bit of touch because, and that's a lot of it again goes. It's based on the conditions. I mean, these conditions are not normal for these players, and the sooner they get adjusted to these conditions, the better it will be. And it's a matter of just one game. If you see Surya Kumar Yadav's post-match presentation last night, he was asked what wrong. I mean, what MI has to do, to start winning games. He just said that it's just a matter of one game. Once we get that game and get that momentum, then there's no stopping them. So basically,
Yes, a team like MI, you put one loose hole, and they will just capitalize it in such a manner that it becomes impossible for the opposition to come back from that situation. That is the power of Mumbai Indians, and that's how you win championship. That's the reason why Mumbai Indians have won more titles than any other team in the IPL. And they know better than any other team how to bounce back. And I genuinely hope that they do the same. But let's move even more ahead in the points table. Let's move to number 3, Delhi Capitals. Delhi Capitals again, just like Sunrisers Hyderabad, another consistent team since they have changed their name and logo. Delhi Capitals has been a really strong side now in the IPL. They have just turned their fortunes around in the past 2-3 seasons. But Amog, my first question to you is about Shikhar Dhawan. How happy how happy are you to see Gabbar back in action?
Very happy, very happy. There's nothing like your opener being in prime form because you get such good starts. And if you observe, even Prithvi Shaw has been providing very good starts with Shikhar Dhawan. So one of your openers being in prime form is, like, I would say, a cherry on the cake. So we would not like to jinx anything of it, and I would just hope for him to continue as well as he's doing throughout the tournament, which will be a very big positive for the Indian team going ahead for the T20 World Cup as well. So all I would say is touch wood right now. Let him continue the way he is.
Yes, definitely. Shikhar Dhawan did deserve that 100 against Punjab Kings, but unfortunate, 92. But still, many more to come. He's the only player to hit back-to-back centuries in the IPL, and we hope that Shikhar Dhawan continues this form since he was going through a lean patch. He was not, he didn't get to play many international matches, T20 matches also for India. Rohit Sharma and KL Rahul were opening. Then we saw even Rohit and Virat Kohli opening in one of the matches, but Shikhar Dhawan didn't get a chance. But speaking of chance, Prithvi Shaw, last year he didn't perform to his expectations. The first couple of games were good for him, but then as the tournament progressed, there were a lot of ducks coming in from Prithvi Shaw's side. And then what a turnaround in the Vijay Hazare Trophy, record-breaking season from from Prithvi Shaw. But coming into the IPL again, his first match was really good. But after that, Prithvi Shaw is getting those starts, but he's not being able to convert them. Like, he's, if I may say, inconsistent when it comes to scoring runs. But when he scores runs, he scores at a rate of at least 200, 180, 200 strike rate. But is that an inconsistency a little bit problem for the Delhi Capitals?
Not really. See, I won't say it's a problem or a very big concern for Delhi Capitals, because see, he's still providing those starts that you need, and right now time thoda acha chal raha hai. That's why Shikhar Dhawan is also converting those scores into big ones, I would say. But I think it's just a matter of one big score for Prithvi Shaw, another, one inning of 50 or 60 where he middles the ball really well in the first 6 overs. I think he'll be back in prime form, because the way he has worked on his technique right after the last year's IPL with Praveen Amre, and he's really got that right elbow of his coming really close to his body, so there's not much of a gap between the bat and his front pad. So I think he's really worked very hard on his technique, which the results of which we saw in the Vijay Hazare Trophy. He led Mumbai to the title, performing with the bat as well, carrying the captaincy plus performing with the bat. So I don't think it's much of a concern for Delhi. It's just a matter of an inning, just a good shot maybe from right of the middle of the bat.
And if I'm not wrong, on his captaincy debut for Mumbai, he scored a double century, right?
Double century, yeah.
Against Puducherry, if I'm not wrong.
Yes.
He scored that beautiful double century.
227.
227, yes. And Prithvi Shaw, he's getting those starts. The important thing which I feel he's doing is that he's giving Delhi Capitals that start in the power play, because scoring those crucial runs in power play is very important. We have seen that teams are fumbling in the power play, because of which they're not being able to put up a good total on the board. And in the end, we are seeing that they're falling at least 15 runs short while defending. So Prithvi Shaw is providing that good start, and I hope that he still has unfinished business. He got out on 99 last year's IPL, if I'm not wrong, and even in the super over he got out on a 0. So definitely hoping that that 99 turns to 100 really soon by Prithvi Shaw. But another question to you, Kagiso Rabada, is his economy a little bit worrying for Delhi Capitals?
The last couple of games, I would say yes, the economy has gone a bit high, but I think it's also important to reflect on the fact that he's been playing on which pitch. It's been the Mumbai Wankhede pitch, where the ball comes onto the bat really very nicely, not taking anything away from the batsman. You need to play good cricket, which Chris Morris did. Credits to him, the way he finished the match in the last over. But I think there's not even one bowler in the world who does not go for runs. I mean, everyone goes through that
all
patch.
all the bowlers have that lean patch at some point on the other on their career. And
Exactly.
Rabada, he's a champion bowler. He is holding the purple cap. I mean, he was the holder of purple cap in the previous IPL, and
yes.
of course, in this season, it's a little bit difficult for him to get the purple cap since he has missed the starting few games. But we definitely hope that he bounces back from this lean patch, and let's hope that he takes 3-4 wickets consistently.
Every game.
Speaking of every game, you would hope that. But speaking of 3-4 wickets, we saw a phenomenal performance by one of the IPL's greats, Amit Mishra. He is a veteran. He is a legend when it comes to IPL. He's the second leading wicket taker in the history of Indian Premier League. And just talk to us about his legacy and the way he dismantled the Mumbai's batting lineup.
I think it is a combination of many things. It was his experience that came into play, yes, but I think it was the Mumbai Indians batsman who played some wrong shots. The shot selection was not up to the mark. But for example, someone like Hardik Pandya, there was no need to go hit that shot at the very, very first ball when you're just new to the crease, especially on a wicket like the Chepauk, where that it's a bit unpredictable. So I think there were a bit of mistakes made by the Mumbai Indians batsman too. But to make those mistakes happen, you still need to toss the ball up, and the ball needs to pitch in the right area. So
and he was brave enough to do that.
He was really brave enough to do that. Yes, there are some bowlers who get hit and then they pitch the ball short, and that is a psychological thing that happens. But there are very few bowlers with this attitude that if you hit one ball out for a 6, they want you to hit another one, then another one. So, and that's what gets you wickets. So I think it's a combination of all these things, but you would really like him. I think he's cemented his place now for the next few games, at least, if not all.
And we don't like to see a player like Amit Mishra, warming the bench. Yeah. He's such a great player. He's such a great, and what a great career he has had in the IPL so far. and it was just lovely, to see him back 4 wickets of such a strong side in the IPL. And as you rightly said, it's all about experience. Experience definitely pays off, and that's he showed everyone why he is an IPL legend. Now moving from the Delhi Capitals, now let's go one step ahead in the points table, and this is where things are gonna get more intense. We have the Chennai Super Kings firmly cementing their place at number 2, and after such a bad season we saw in 2020, such a turn of around of events for Kings, and we are seeing the vintage CSK back in action. Sanmay, how are you feeling? Firstly, tell me how are you feeling about the change of events that has happened for CSK?
I'm feeling very good that CSK has come back to his vintage form after what happened in the 2020 season. It's good to see the CSK playing really well, and the CSK which we have known for so many years is back in the game.
Yes, CSK is playing really well, and in my opinion, one reason I feel that CSK is playing really well is, I guess, the inclusion of Moeen Ali. And do you think that inclusion of Moeen Ali has balanced the squad?
Yeah, firstly, I have to thank the RCB team management for releasing him so that we could buy him in the 2021 auction. And we are using Moeen Ali really well. Playing at number 3, everyone thought that it's cemented for Suresh Raina, but Moeen Ali is not disappointing us. He's getting the starts. He's playing the role of aggressor very well. And what he had once said that he's given the freedom to play well, and he's feeling nice. And once a player feels like this, then we get the performance in matches.
Yes, definitely. Moeen Ali has been a star for CSK. If not with the bat, then we definitely know he'll perform with the ball. But a fun question for you now. Earlier we saw, Nitish Rana with a similar kind of thing as now Deepak Chahar is going on with. Nitish Rana was on a series of, 80-0, 80-0. And now we are seeing a similar pattern from Deepak Chahar, 0 wickets, then 4 wickets, then again 0 wickets, then again goes to 4 wickets. So, do we what is this pattern going on with Deepak Chahar? Your comments on this?
First, I have to ask Deepak Chahar what is going on. He's having the figures of 0-4, 0-4. But the matches we have seen that the 4 wickets he has taken, it is mainly because the ball was swinging both the ways. And once there is no swing, he goes for runs and he goes wicketless. So he will have to find ways to take wickets when the ball is not also swinging. So that's the one part, but he will overcome it and will play consistently. I will not get the question you asked again next week.
I hope that this question doesn't arise once again. But yeah, Deepak Chahar is a genuine asset, and his rise in his rise in his career has been phenomenal. And he's the perfect replacement for Bhuvneshwar Kumar whenever he's injured. The beautiful swing which he gets at the start of the innings, and he has that wicket-taking ability. So he's definitely an asset, not just for your side, but even for our national team. And seeing Deepak Chahar back in action, back in form after going through a lean patch, I am really delightful. Seeing him into the wickets. He's taken 8 wickets already in 4 games, so that's a big plus for CSK also. And if his consistency improves, it's another booster for CSK, to win the IPL and make it 4 titles, 1 title less than Mumbai Indians. But let's move ahead and the match against KKR. We discussed earlier as well. It was such a beautiful game, such a close game. And first of all, hats off to you. Ruturaj Gaikwad is back in form now. For 3 games he didn't score runs, but now the innings which he played, it was such an effortless innings. It didn't seem that he's struggling. It didn't seem that he was not in form. He didn't get runs in the past 3 games. And what a beautiful knock by Ruturaj Gaikwad. Happy to see him back in action. And not to mention Faf du Plessis. The first game he didn't score. I guess he got out on a duck or a single. But after that he got good starts, but was not able to convert them. And now what a beautiful 95. And he just won all our hearts. And unfortunate that he took a single on the second last ball and gave strike to Jadeja. But a fun fact for you over here that Jadeja has hit a six off the last ball against KKR in 3 consecutive years. So I think that is the main reason why Faf du Plessis didn't go for his century and took that single. But coming to that game, talk to us about the beautiful captaincy that MS Dhoni had in that match. Of course, we know he's one of the best captains that we have witnessed. But just that particular game, how good was he as a captain?
He is the best captain. He is the best IPL captain we have ever had.
Not just IPL, he's the
talking
best captain our nation has had, in my opinion. Not just IPL.
okay,
He's
you
an
can.
asset. He was an asset for our national team too.
Yeah, but talking about that match, he has played that match many times, so he knows how to stay, how to talk, how to control the players when they are not getting the lines and nets correct. So that's MS we have known for very long, and is that the experience that MS had? That's why we could have pulled off that game. And talking about Jadeja's last ball six, I have to thank Nitish Rana for dropping that catch. That's what we got that score of 226. That was costly for KKR, but good for us. And yeah, that's what you have to say. The CSK is back, Dhoni is back, everyone is back.
Yes, as we discussed while talking about Amit Mishra also, that experience definitely pays off, and experience is such a vital tool for a player to have, in all these crucial situations, in these crucial matches. A player who has a lot of experience, these they come out and they take the match away. And that's what Amit Mishra did. That's what I think even Dhoni did with his amount of experience that he has. Captaining India, captaining CSK. So happy to see CSK in the fighting very strongly for the IPL title. But at present, there is only one team, who looks the strongest. And no one expected this team to have such a beautiful start. And we had our first week podcast. Now we are into the second week, and a lot of things have changed, but only one thing is constant, and that is RCB's place at the points table. You were at first place at the end of the first week. You are at the first place at the end of the second week also. Congratulations, first of all, Mithilesh. 4-4. RCB has never gotten this kind of a start in the IPL. But let's talk about your match against KKR. We saw Glenn Maxwell and AB de Villiers, hammering the ballers all around the park. Talk to us about the innings that those two guys played.
First of all, thank you, Parth, for the wonderful introduction for us because as an RCB fan, we did not expect such introduction from someone. but yes, that was a sheer dominance from past 4 games. And if you look at the AB and Maxwell duo, the addition of the Maxwell as one of the biggest assets for us, looking at the middle order crisis. If you see the last year stats in 2020, we were facing run rate issue. We were not able to maintain that higher run rate during the middle over. So addition of Maxwell made ensured that we keep hitting those big boundaries during that middle over and keep the run rate by 8 or 10, something like that. And thanks Punjab for Maxwell, and not to forget DC. Thank you for Harshal Patel. But yes, the power duo of Maxwell and ABD during the match against the KK was unbelievable. Means hitting such a powerful hitting on a wicket of Chepauk. It's quite unbelievable, and we know that
It was pure masterclass. It was
yes.
pure masterclass what they showed. And you are thanking Punjab for Glenn Maxwell, but the kind of season that he had for Punjab the last year, hardly managed to cross 100 runs. And for a player like Glenn Maxwell, no one expected for him to be sold at such big amount. 14.25 crores. It's no joke. And hats off to the RCB camp, the RCB management for having so much faith in Glenn Maxwell, and he's proving his worth. He is a contender for the orange cap, and in the 3 games that he has batted, of course, in the 4th game he didn't get to bat, and we'll come to that 4th game later. In 3 games that he has batted, he has batted really well, scoring 250s, and against Mumbai Indians scored 35 odd runs. So it's good to see that we have our Glenn Maxwell, which we love, back in form, and I would love to see him bowling as well. I would love to see him, coming in and pitching, and taking a couple of wickets as well. But now let's move on to that. You were talking about dominance, and what better it is than winning a game by 10 wickets. And Devdutt Padikkal, what an innings, what a beautiful knock. First 100 for him in the IPL. He's carrying his form from the Vijay Hazare Trophy. Vijay, again, just like Prithvi Shaw, he also had an amazing series in the amazing series. Scored again over 800 runs, and he just carrying his form again over here. Of course, the first 2 games didn't do justice to him, but he's come back really strong. And your comments on that beautiful knock.
That was a beautiful, very attractive innings from the southpaw. I think it was just a matter of 1 or 2 innings that just he need to get his form back. And the first 2 game was not a concern at all for us, because we know the caliber of Devdutt, that how what his potentials are, and we know that the 1 or 2 games and he will be back in the form. And the stage was set at Wankhede. The pitch was assisting the batsman, and he just get into his groove, played his shots, natural shots. I think that was an unbelievable knock, and getting century and having Virat Kohli on another end and getting a century. It's a proud moment for him, I think. And congratulations to Virat Kohli on completing 6,000 runs, because that's a quite magical achievement.
We do expect him to reach all these milestones. He's a great guy, and just like how Abhinav regrets not being part of the 2014 match, I also regret removing Devdutt Padikkal from my team at the very last moment in the 4th match. Turns out he scored that beautiful 100. But from batting, let's move to your bowling. Death bowling has always been a massive concern for Royal Challengers Bangalore, but Harshal Patel has come into your squad, and he is now holding the purple cap. And and not just with the wickets, his economy is phenomenal. His economy is really good. How much has he evolved as a death bowler for RCB? I mean, not to mention, he earlier was a member of the RCB camp before 3-4 years ago, and now you've got him back. And how does it feel to have a strong death bowler in your side?
I think the chip-off wicket just helped his bowling style. The slower balls, he was very perfect with his Yorkers. I think he was delivering those Yorkers very well. And the kind of pitch that Chepauk was means assisting the slow ball, and the ball was stopping a little bit on the surface, so that helps him. And if you look at his last match, he was just economical. I mean, not that great, but yeah, he took 3 wickets.
Yeah, in the last game, he did go for runs, but in the last over, he came and bagged 2 wickets, if I'm not wrong. Total, he took 3 wickets in that game. And when I started speaking of Harshal Patel, I saw a regretful smile on the face of Amog. And Amog, do you regret transferring Harshal Patel to RCB?
I just want to ask Mithilesh that if we give double the price, can you please return him back to DC? Is that a possibility?
No, that's not the possibility now. अभी जो एक बार चिड़िया चुग गई खेत, अब क्या करोगे तुम वापस लेके?
अब पछताए हो क्या जब चिड़िया चुग गई खेत?
भरोसा नहीं है एक्चुअली आरसीबी का, कभी कैसे डिसीजंस लेते हैं ना, भरोसा नहीं है. ये साल पर्पल कैप लेके अगले साल लेके जा भाई.
No, but honestly, Harshal Patel has definitely taken up the challenge of being a death bowler for RCB, and he is proving that, and he is the go-to man for Virat Kohli when it comes with the ball, along with Mohammad Siraj as well. Not to forget the way he has improved. He's very underrated, and of course, people do troll him because of his performances in the past. Because he leaks runs. But what a turnaround he has
I
had in
think
this IPL.
I think talking
In the previous game, he scalped 3 wickets. Yes, Mithilesh, go on.
I think talking about Mohammad Siraj, if you look at his bowling, I think he's underrated because the wicket column does not show that too much wicket that Harshal Patel has. But if you look at the amazing stats that he had bowled 53 dots balls in the last 4 games, I think that's a quite achievable figures that, and especially in T20, if you are bowling 53 dot balls in 4 games, I think that's really appreciable. I think.
Yes, definitely. Dot balls proved to be so crucial, and not to mention the previous IPL, his economy was over around 9.3, 9.4, and his average was also around 29 or 29 and a half. And he got selected into the national team. Grabbed a fifer in that historic Gaba breach, and now he is performing so good in the IPL also. In the end, it's good both for RCB and for Indian team as well. But we have spoken a lot about your individual teams. Let's now talk about some genuine topics. Sanmay, my question to you. Do you see a spike in fielding standards compared to the first week and now?
Yeah, I think so. There is spike in fielding standards. If I have to speak about my team, they are fielding really well. Even though we are the oldest side of this tournament, we are fielding very well, courtesy Jadeja. And as we know, the catches. So
Yes, really, catches do win matches. And, I also hope that, the fielding does improve more and more as we, move ahead. We just have finished 2 weeks. We have four more weeks to go in the IPL. And I definitely hope that, the fielding standards increase more and more. But now, Aditya, my question to you. Is the COVID bio bubble little bit too much hard for the players to follow?
Yeah, absolutely. You can say like recently RR just announced that Liam Livingstone is leaving the bio bubble uh, because of bio bubble fatigue. But I feel like if you're playing uh, in this situation without bio bubble, it's not possible only. And especially you're playing in India where the number of cases are increasing day by day. So player, the players should not take risks. And hats off to BCCI for organizing IPL in such condition also, so as to entertain the fans and to engage more fandom.
Yes, hats off to Saurav Ganguly also, when the cases were, IPL before the start, there were doubts whether it would happen in India or not. But, Saurav Ganguly gave a very strong statement that we would not be moving IPL anywhere apart from India, and we will be playing the Indian Premier League in India itself. And hats off to the BCCI as well. My next question is to you, Sachit. Social media abuse. We've seen time and again, not just in cricket, but in all the sports. Players do get abused over social media. They get trolled and stuff. Does that mentally affect a player?
Of course it does. Of course. I mean, if they look at something like that, if they look at memes or abuses that are made on them, it obviously affects them. Although they try their best not to get affected by it, I think it eventually does. So I guess one thing they can do is just not look at it. There are many cricketers who let other people handle their Instagram accounts or other social media accounts. They don't do it themselves because they know that they would come across memes and abuses that they wouldn't want to come across. So I think that's a good idea. If people keep doing that more and more, I think this will reduce. But I also urge people to stop doing that, because any cricketer, let it be an international cricketer or a domestic cricketer or even a person who's just started playing cricket, if you abuse him over and over again, he will definitely get abused. I mean, he will definitely get affected. So I think I think people should stop doing that. It's very hurtful for everyone. and also cricketers. I think that idea of letting others handle their Instagram accounts would also work for most of them.
Yeah,
Yeah, you
in
know,
the end, if you see, they are all human beings, man. First.
Yes, exactly. I completely agree to both of you. And yeah, you know, social media managing, it's becoming a profession also nowadays. You know, we see a lot of social media managers, and usually all these high profile people, they in most of the cases they do have a social media manager for themselves who you know looks after their social media. And yes, you know, social media abuse has to be stopped. Because see, in the end, these players, they play for their country, be it Indian, be it Australian, be it whoever it is. In the end, they play for their own country. You know, it's a moment of pride for them when they wear the international cap. And you know, we definitely should not abuse these players. You know, because they have so much talent, and it's because of that talent that they are on that field. And you know, they are trying to make a point over there. They're trying to win for their own nation, and it's very wrong, you know, to abuse people over the social media. But now let's move to our last part of the show, you know, the most interesting part in my opinion, where we'll discuss the top performers of the week. First of all, Abhinav, who do you think has been the best batsman in the second week of IPL?
Well, I think Amog will agree with my answer. I think it's Shikhar Dhawan. Because that two innings, I guess one of 90 or something, and one of against MI. Both those innings were very crucial for DC to get those 4 points. He single-handedly, ensured that if he stays until the end, the points are in the bag. So Shikhar Dhawan for me.
Definitely Shikhar Dhawan. And Rishi, who do you think has been the best batsman in week 2?
I'll go with Devdutt Padikkal. We saw, one of the best knocks in this year's IPL. And not the first time, the second time we saw it, he scored a brilliant 100. And before that also, he was in a good touch. It was just a matter of that one inning which he got. And then I think he'll turn out to be one of the best finds again of this year's IPL as well.
But you can't win emerging player twice, so this time he won't be able to grab that emerging player award. But he is definitely an emerging player for our nation as far as it's concerned, looking at his performance. Now let's move to the bowlers. Jayendra, who do you think was the best bowler in this second week?
Harshal Patel.
Harshal Patel. He's holding the purple cap holder, and Mithilesh has a bright smile on his face hearing Harshal Patel's name.
He was brilliant. He was the first bowler to take a 5-wicket haul against Mumbai Indians. So it's a big achievement.
And we don't need to mention that. We have heard that enough.
Yeah, guys, enough of Harshal Patel, guys. Either guilt or I ball.
I love all these banters. But now Aditya, who do you think was the best bowler in this second week of IPL?
I feel it should be Deepak Chahar. Like the match against KKR was too good. Like the start which CSK got was
definitely
quite impressive.
what a beautiful start Deepak Chahar gave, and it's always good to see Indians performing. Both of you guys, you gave Indian names, and it's good that our own players are doing so good in our own league. But now let's move to the all-rounders. Sachit, who do you think was the top all-rounder of the week?
I think it would be Glenn Maxwell. I mean, although he didn't bowl much, the impact that he's had for RCB, the way he turned their fortune was brilliant. So I think it would be Glenn Maxwell in my opinion.
And Sanmay, I know what you're going to answer to this question, but who was your best all-rounder?
I have two. That is one is Moeen Ali, and other one is of course Jadeja. They both played really well in this week of IPL, so it's a no-brainer for me.
Jadeja was good, not with the fielding as well. 4 catches in a match, beautiful runouts. Jadeja is definitely a massive fielder to have in your team. Ball house ke haath mein aati hai means it is going to hit the stumps. That is the power of Ravindra Jadeja. Now let's move to Amog. Who do you think? Amog, who do you think was the captain of the week?
captain of the week, I would say, in my opinion, MS Dhoni. None other than MS Dhoni, especially because of the way he utilized his resources perfectly for what he's known for. I think the way he managed Deepak Chahar's bowling, the 4 overs, I think when he's bowling well, he did not hesitate to give him all his 4 overs at one stretch, which is by the end of 8 overs, Deepak Chahar was done. All his 4 overs were done. So I think it is really fearless of him as a captain that you don't look to preserve overs till the end. You know that end mein kaun, death mein kaun bowling dalega. I think he has trust in his bowlers that if he can get those wickets in the 4 overs, which Deepak Chahar did, then death tak jaane ka zarurat hi nahi hai. So I think that was really brave of him. So it will be MS Dhoni for me.
I mean, we never have words for MS
As
Dhoni's
always.
captaincy. As always, definitely, as always. And Abhinav, who was your captain of the week?
Well, I usually don't say this, but I really liked Virat Kohli's captaincy this time. I mean, he has used. I mean, if you see the bowling lineup is not very different than the previous seasons. Just that Harshal Patel's inclusion, that has because Yuzvendra Chahal has been not giving the performances Virat hopes him to give. So I think Virat has utilized his bowlers very well, especially against SRH, where we thought RCB is going to lose that game. So I think for me it has to be Virat.
Good picks by all of
छाती चौड़ी कर दी.
Good picks by all of you. And now the last question, which I want all of you to answer one by one. Who will be the X factor in the third week of the IPL? Sachit, you go first.
I think for RR, it would be Chris Morris. I'm hopeful that he would make a brilliant comeback. But for other teams, if I say, I think the way that Devdutt Padikkal is playing, I think he would definitely be a huge factor in our RCB's success this year.
I'll be honest, Mithilesh is the happiest person in this particular segment.
Yeah.
Harshal Patel ka naam aa gaya, Virat Kohli ka naam aa gaya, now even Devdutt Padikkal is coming over here. Jayendra, who do you think will be the X factor in the next week?
If you ask me, I think it's been Kane Williamson. The comeback of Kane Williamson, the SRH period. He is the brilliant batsman, and you saw his impact in the first game itself. So I think Kane Williamson, and one more. One more I would like to add is Rashid Khan from my side only. The bowling, the Afghan.
I like how you are backing your players. But let's move on. Rishi, who do you think will be the X factor?
For my team, I'll go with Andrew Russell, and for overall, if I say, then I'll go with nobody takes these kind of names generally, but then I'll go with Rohit Sharma.
Interesting. I myself didn't expect Rohit Sharma's name to come up. Sanmay, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I will say for me it will be
I expected that from you. Abhinav, what about you? Who do you think?
Well, first of all, I don't want any X factors from the other team. I only want X factors from my side, and that has to be Surya Kumar Yadav for me, because he's been throwing his wicket away recently. If you see in the last game as well, where Rohit and him were batting, the rash shot which he played, seeing his face, I think he knew that wasn't a shot that he should have played. So I think he's due some runs, and the Delhi leg hopefully will get him those runs.
Definitely. And you speaking about Delhi, Amog, who would be the X factor for you?
I think I'd like to go with the two best batsmen in the world currently. I would say I agree with Jayendra, Kane Williamson for sure, because we all have seen what he can do anchoring the inning. And I think Virat Kohli can also be a very big X factor for RCB, because the way he has started, we rarely see him drop his form once he starts off. So I think it will be those two.
And Mithilesh?
For me, the X factor will be AB de Villiers.
You have a lot of.
I was waiting for this name. I was waiting for this name to come up. AB de Villiers. So how can you forget a player like AB de Villiers? Yes. When we speak about X factor, he is the X factor of the entire IPL. To be very honest,
Mithilesh right now can give at least 5 to 6 X factors from RCB.
Yes.
If Mithilesh wants, he'll name his entire team as X factor.
Actually, because the team is performing like a collective. It is a collective team efforts that we saw from last 2 weeks.
Truly,
So I'm
truly.
hoping.
And lastly, Aditya, who do you think will be the X factor in the third week?
From Punjab side, I feel KL Rahul will be the X factor.
It's been a great pleasure hosting you guys. I loved hearing each and every one of you beautiful insights everyone provided, and I hope definitely that our viewers will enjoy our second episode of IPL Weekly podcast. Thank you.
Lastly a request to Mithilesh from all the other teams कि बस करो अभी थोड़ा बाकियों के लिए भी छोड़ो कुछ.
अभी
बाकियों के लिए छोड़ दो भाई, पॉइंट्स टेबल और
अभी
थोड़ा
नहीं
हो
नहीं
गया
अभी
यार इनका.
खुद के पॉइंट्स खुद ही लेना पड़ता है ना. हमसे क्यों एक्सपेक्ट कर रहे हो तुम? खेलो और जीतो.
these we'll keep them coming more and more, but as of today this is we have to put a full stop over here right now. Please do like and subscribe our YouTube channel and hit the bell icon, and thank you for joining all of us today. Thank you.